Hello, my name is Catherine Rago Figueroa, and today I will be discussing the use of the PDSA or Plan, Do, Study, Act cycle in my 11th grade U.S. History class. We'll begin by briefly discussing the benefits to this cycle and each of its stages, how I will be applying it to my own students to meet our goals for document-based questions, and move on to each of the steps of the cycle, followed by a brief conclusion on the process. Let's begin by discussing what the PDSA or Plan, Do, Study, Act cycle is and each of its steps. The PDSA cycle is a method used for testing or implementing change that leads to systemic refinements or improved outcomes. The PDSA cycle encourages small-scale testing and continuous improvement. Step 1 is the plan stage. During this stage, a goal must be identified and a plan established to present a change that acts as a hypothesis to be tested. Step 2 is the do stage. This is where the change is tested on a small scale. Step 3 is the study stage, in which results are analyzed to gain insight. And finally, step 4 is the act stage. Based on results, either adjustments to the change are made, or if highly successful, the change is scaled up. The course I teach, U.S. History for the 11th grade, culminates in an end-of-course assessment that each student must take. While my scores have been fair and even excellent in the past, one area in which I would like to see improvement is how students respond to document-based questions. Prior to this year, many of their social studies classes only include questions in their assessments that focus on recall, but not application or analysis. Students at this level must be able to recall historical eras, but they must also additionally be able to analyze primary sources, such as maps, documents, photographs, and political cartoons, complete graphic organizers based on the information presented, and be able to think about history through a cause and consequence scheme. For this reason, I decided that the change in this cycle is in my instruction of document-based questions. For step 1, the plan phase, my objective is the following. Students will design their own document-based questions, or DBQs, by engaging in historical inquiry, research, source selection, and critical thinking. As part of this project, students will need to interpret primary sources as historians do, select sources based on research, and create DBQs and test them on their peers. My pilot group will be comprised of 25 students, all 11th graders, and I have included the overall demographics of our school since I do not currently have a class. My hope is that in addition to improving skills such as historical inquiry, analysis, research, and writing, students will also have a better understanding of DBQs through creation. It's almost like learning how to build a computer by taking it apart first. To test for improvement, I will be including rubrics for the assignment, one of which I will fill out, and the other which will be passed out to students so they may complete it and offer feedback to their peers. Additionally, students will complete reflection surveys as well as a written reflection, and finally, a pre-test and post-test will be administered to compare scores and gauge improvement. Step 2, the do stage, will consist of 3 separate weeks, each with a separate aim. During the first week, students will take a pretest that includes document-based multiple-choice questions in the style of the end-of-course assessment they can expect to take at the end of the year. Students will learn Unit 1, the Civil War and Reconstruction, in class and engage in several formative assessments that will provide them with examples of the different styles of document-based questions on the EOC. With guidance, students will then analyze what each style of document-based question is asking them to do and review those DBQs in class. During week 2, the creation phase, students will select a topic within Unit 1 and research and select primary sources. Students will be required to at least use 3 within their DBQs. Students will then begin to build their mini-assessment, which will be comprised of 5 different document-based questions. As previously stated, at least 3 must include primary sources. These could be documents, photographs, political cartoons, etc. And the other 2 document-based questions must utilize graphic organizers that students must complete to answer the question. For each question, students need to tag each with a state benchmark and provide a very brief rationale behind their formatting and sourcing. During week 3, students will exchange mini-assessments and, in addition to taking it, will offer feedback to their peers. The instructor, me, will also offer feedback on the mini-assessment. Students will also write a reflection on how their understanding of the various structures of the EOC-style document-based questions have improved, take a reflection survey, and take a post-test that will be compared with the scores of their pretest. Analysis will consist of both quantitative and qualitative data. Scores on the mini assessment will be both quantitative and qualitative because they will be based on feedback rubrics, meaning there will be a numbered score in addition to written feedback provided. Reflection will also be both quantitative and qualitative with a Likert scale survey used to determine student confidence and understanding surrounding document-based questions, as well as a student-produced written reflection. Finally, scores from the pretest and post-test will be compared. If effective, scores based on the performance on document-based questions should improve, and there should be a demonstrated confidence and understanding of document-based questions throughout the process and after. Should certain students require intervention, I can offer one-on-one support, provide a format for DBQs, or provide possible primary sources to utilize in the formation of these questions. During Step 4, the ACT phase of the PDSA cycle, based on findings, one must determine what areas may need to be revised or what further changes could be made to improve. In this case, I feel little growth demonstrated from the pre to the post-test scores, or surveys and reflections still indicating confusion or misunderstanding with document-based questions would prompt me to revise. With regards to additional changes, if successful, in addition to scaling up, I would like to expand the project to incorporate technology and start building a collection of student-made document-based questions to include in a larger study guide for an end-of-year review. Because the PDSA cycle allows for continuous improvement, even if I were to scale up this DBQ project, there are still many improvements and changes I could make over the next few years and could test on a small scale using the same method. Ultimately, the greatest change is in my own instruction and releasing part of the responsibility of learning document-based questions to the students. I feel this could be highly effective because it gives each student a greater sense of agency over their own education and additionally is far more engaging. These are my references, and I thank you for watching.